Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Yo, only at the bar room, yo. Let's go. It's the show called Bears 100 Proof. We like to tear down the roof, talking ball, ripping balls. Everybody gonna have a ball, so pull up a bar stool. But we just got one rule: you gotta love them Bears. If not, take the stairs. Trubisky, Cohen, A-Rob, and more. Nagy's offense, yeah, that's one to adore. Mac, Akeem, EJ, and Fuller. Pagano's defense is a mofo killer. Top analysis with no paralysis. Intoxicating interviews like some really good booze. A joke here, a joke there. 100p. So tell me if you ready for thee. Let's go.
Bears 100 proof.
We keeping it 100, baby.
What's up? This is Joel Iyebuniwe, a.k.a. Iggy, and you guys are listening to Bears Barroom Radio.
We keeping it 100, baby.
What's up, Bears fans? It's Josh Woods, linebacker for the Chicago Bears, and you're listening to Bears Barroom with these crazy guys. Hold on tight, but you're going to get a good show.
We keeping it 100, baby.
This is Earl Bennett, former Bears wide receiver, and you guys are rocking out with Bears Barroom.
Bears Barroom. We keeping it 100, baby.
What's up, Chicago Bears fans? This is Thomas Jones, former Chicago Bear, and you're listening to Bears Barroom Radio. Bear down, baby.
Hey guys, it's Ryan Nall, running back for the Chicago Bears, and you're listening to the Bears Barroom.
We keeping it 100, baby.
Cheers, Bears fans! This is Bears 100 Proof, and you just heard Joel Iyebuniwe, Josh Woods, Earl Bennett, Thomas Jones, Ryan Nall, and Kyle Long welcome you to Bears Barroom Radio. My name is Aldo Gandia. I serve the drinks in this raucous, rowdy roadhouse bar. But don't you worry, the stars of our show are here. They are, of course, Shane, the smartest man in the barroom, Marsaw, and our special guest co-host, who I'll introduce momentarily. But first, I need to find out how my man Shane is doing. Shane, what's up, brother, from another mother? Holla!
I'm getting excited, man. This is what we've all been waiting for. This NFL offseason seems like it never stops, but we're entering that dead zone, unfortunately. And, you know, the kickers even ended today on a good note, Aldo. How can we not be hype about this, right?
Oh, my God. They hit kicks, saved the guys from running. They were heroes of camp. All the players were very, very grateful. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a little worried about this kicking situation, and we'll talk about that more in depth. But overall, man, the vibe is freaking electric, brother. It is awesome.
It is. I still, I'm 42 years old. I'll be 43 the end of July, and it's been a lot of tough seasons being a Chicago Bears fan. And I look over this roster, and I still can't believe the depth that we've added to this roster, with young guys with upside. I mean, if it was just a few short years ago, we lost one guy, and it seemed like if you lost Brian Urlacher, it seemed like your season was over. Then the Bears aren't built like that now. Of course, if you lose your quarterback, but this is a deep, young roster that's hungry, and the Bears 100 anniversary weekend proved this entire organization is fired up and ready to go, and so am I.
We have to mind our P's and Q's today because we're going to be interviewing a tight end from Princeton. So he's probably going to correct our grammar, probably going
yours especially.
You ain't kidding. And our guest co-host is in the house. How do I say it, man? I am so effing excited to have this guy here at Bears 100 Proof. This guy kind of fits this show to the T.
Yeah.
He is a husband, a father, a podcaster. He is opinionated. You read him on Twitter at Ross Reed, and you say, this motherfucker, boy, he's bringing it night in and night out. He is a workout professional. He's going to get you in shape if you need to lose some weight like I do. And he is just a genuine, all-around great guy. Ross Reed, welcome to Bears 100 Proof in the Barroom. How are you, brother?
Good, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, this is a treat. It really, really is. When Shane and I talked about having guest co-hosts, you were one of the first names mentioned because you just kind of fit this vibe that we created for this show to a T. And so, truly, thanks a lot for carving some time out. I know how difficult it is, especially at night when you've got a kid.
It's all good. I appreciate it. I know we got a couple more minutes right before we mine our P's and Q's. I'll do like a shit, bullshit, parky, any curse word you can make.
Well, that's a good point. How happy are you on a scale from 1 to 1,000,000 that Cody Parkey is not wearing a Chicago Bears uniform right now?
I mean, obviously, I'm at 1,000,000, but I mean, here's the crappy part: is it's June 13th, and we're still kind of worried about the kicker situation, right?
Oh,
so. I mean, I'm not sweating it right now. I think as we get closer to training camp, that whole thing is going to work itself out. I still think that come hell or high road, Robbie Gould is the kicker for the Bears come week 1. It's just a matter of time as we get closer to that date as to when he has to report that things start to get done. This is the NFL. Nothing happens in the NFL until the very last minute, right? So, till then, we've got to deal with Fry and Pinheiro and Blewett's already blown town.
He really lived up to that name, huh?
Yeah, he blew it.
Shane, what's the vibe with the kicking situation that you want to kind of announce to everybody?
I'm right there with Ross. To me, I was talking to, a friend of the barroom, Matt Carsonson, and I agree with what he says too. It seems like they want Pinheiro to be the guy to me. And maybe that Fry has been the more consistent kicker, but Pinheiro's got that big leg. But totally agree with Ross. I think they're going to let these guys duke it out. And deadlines in the NFL is when things get done. And if the Bears have to pony up something maybe a little bit more than we were expecting to bring in, to bring Robbie home, that's not really going to surprise me. I mean, let's not forget they traded. I'm not going to compare it to the Khalil Mack trade, obviously, but they consummated that trade on September 1st last year. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it can't be done. Right. And if these guys go out there and shit down their legs, what other move is there to be made? This is a Super Bowl roster. You can't blow it with a kicker.
Yeah, if they bring in Gold, we'll do another special broadcast like we did on the Mac trade, right?
Absolutely. Who doesn't remember where they were September 1st, 2018?
Exactly. Your phone was ringing off the hook or buzzing off the hook at like, what, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was going crazy. I'm like, no way. Got up, went to the store the next morning. I was at the bakery picking up some stuff for Ela, and this guy I never even met before. I had a Bears T-shirt on. He came up to me and he's like, "Your boy's got Mac." And I had no idea who the guy was. I turned around. I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Your boy's just got Mac." And I'm like, "Oh shit, Khalil Mack, that just go through?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I don't even think I bought the bread I was supposed to. I ran out of the store and went home.
Ross, you remember where you were when Mac was acquired?
I was heading into work early that morning, and I was pulling out the driveway, and then my Twitter just started going off, and I started getting like a couple of text messages, and I was just shocked, and I couldn't even remember like what happened the next like 3 to 4 hours after that. You were just in like this, state of euphoria because you got, arguably, I mean, the guy's a top 3 defender in the league, right? I mean, it was just unreal the way the Ryan Pace did it, and he did it in such stealth mode, and what a shot in the arm that was. And you look at it now, right? It's like, last year that was a shot in the arm that took them to 12-4, and then now everybody's ready to go going into training camp. I mean, it's funny, like the only thing we really have to talk about right now with this team is the kicker, because Mac's there and Roquan is there, and they're signing, David Montgomery already signed today. He's going to be a vital piece of the offense, and all reports are telling us that Trubisky looks good, and the receivers are looking good. So I'm really excited about what's going. But it started that day with the Khalil Mack trade.
All right, guys, I want to start by talking a little bit about the 100th anniversary, or excuse me, the 100th celebration the Chicago Bears had this past weekend. Shane, obviously, you didn't go. You're out east in the East Coast. I didn't have a chance to go. I had my my daughter's bridal shower. Ross, did you get out there at all?
I did not get out there, but I was able to talk to a lot of people who did go out there, and of course I saw all the activity and whatnot on Twitter and social media in general.
It was truly a great celebration. I know that a lot of fans who were in attendance were unhappy with the lines and some of the logistics and so forth. But in terms of the content, everything that I've heard and the barflies that I talked to who went there, they were super gaga about the whole thing. And based on what all the information I gathered, I want to say that I think that Virginia McCaskey was the star of the show.
Oh, yeah.
We rarely get to hear her talk. We rarely get to see her, even move. And there she was, this 90-plus-year-old woman at center stage with her walker, moving around nimbly. She was interviewed by all the major TV stations in Chicago. She talked to the crowd, was a part of the panel discussion, and she was sharp. And she said all of the things that, the matriarch of the Chicago Bears and probably the NFL, should say. And the one thing that really, really endeared me to her even more than before was just her thirst to win. And when she said things like, you don't want to hear me after a loss, because she's like her dad, that was pretty cool, wasn't it, Shane?
Yeah, it absolutely was. The one that got me was when she got up there and they're asking her about the throwback uniforms, and she said she didn't really pay too much attention back in the day to those uniforms. She was paying more attention to the guys that were in them. And I'm like, oh, Virginia, she's taking her shot out there back in 1936. But, that was, you're not expecting lady of that stature to get up there and kick it with the fan base like that. And I really did enjoy it. And I agree with you, Aldo. It's, you don't get to see her out and about too much, but I thought she came off great.
Ross, what are your thoughts about Virginia McCaskey? And I know I didn't get to hear a lot of what George McCaskey said, but if you did, Ross, why don't you share your thoughts about just the organization as a whole and what they shared with the fans?
Yeah, well, I think it's important when we talk about Virginia to kind of put in perspective, a couple of things. Number one, she's 96 years old. I mean, she's the oldest owner in the NFL now that Ralph Wilson passed away, not too long ago. And also, most importantly, she's the last direct extension that we have of George Halas, right? Who is, the founder and did so much for the NFL. So I love the fact that, that Dan Pompei and the crew put her in the room and kind of got, picked her brain when it comes to putting together the list of the top 100 NFL players. But I love the fact that she's there because I don't want to seem to sound morbid. We don't know how much time you have left with her. Mm-hmm. So you have to cherish her every chance you get. And it's all the more reason why this team, hopefully can win while she can still see it, because she has certainly more than earned that, right? She deserves to see this one more time. But I think it sounds like she's having fun right now with this team and having fun with the process. And I think the organization as a whole has probably for the last 25 years been kind of like a little uptight and kind of, been a little, archaic in their ways and how they run, shop. And I think that, when George McCaskey made the switch to go to Ryan Pace, and he kind of, Pace and McCaskey have really brought this franchise really into the 21st century. Anywhere from the updates to Halas Hall to trading for Khalil Mack, right? To picking a quarterback second overall. That was never, dreamed about in Bears history's past, and to even putting on an event like this. And, obviously we shouldn't wait for another 100 years to see another event like that. I'd like to see him, I don't know about you guys, but I like to see him about once every 5 years, Oh,
yeah.
So let's do it again at 105.
Yeah.
And then 110 and 115 and so on and so forth.
I totally agree. That's a great point, Ross. You bring it up. Obviously, we know if you're 96 years old, your clock is ticking. But the not just us know that the players in that locker room, they said, you know, when she comes down at the beginning of every season and talks to the players, you know, you don't hear a peep in that locker room. They're all focused on every word that's coming out of her mouth. And these players know that, and that's one more thing to add, you know, to the bucket list for these guys. You know, they want to go win a Super Bowl this year, and they want to win it for themselves. They want to win it for Mrs. McCaskey. I mean, she's got to be is she the oldest owner in all of sports?
Well, I don't think there's anybody else. 96.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So.
Yeah. But it's a great point, and it's this team really. You know, I made the comment way back when they drafted Mitch. You know, it was that big ship just started to turn just a little bit in a different direction, like you said, Ross. Them being archaic. You know, every time it was always going back to the '85 Bears and the Bears, and to me, that has been, Aldo, you've heard me say that is so, with me, it's so played out. You know, I want to talk about these guys. Yeah, you want to know where you came from, but I want to talk, you know, present day with these guys. And it was such a great event. And I loved all the backstories. You know, Ryan Pace and Ted Phillips made a comment about Ryan Pace when, on draft day when they were going to get Mitch. He said, Ryan, what are we going to do? And he said, Trubisky's our guy, and there's a lot of chatter that people may go up for him. And if we have to give up stuff to go up one spot to get him, we're going to do it because he's our guy. He's the guy that's gonna lead us. Chicago Bears didn't do that before.
Right.
You know, they'd sit back and they would be timid, and that's when you can say whatever you want about the Chicago Bears. You can't call Ryan Pace timid. No. That guy's got balls of steel. You know, at the end of the day, he's not afraid to do any of that.
It says a lot about the conviction that he has in his scouting and his scouts, that he's just not going to hope that somebody slips by when he has his sights set on a guy that he and the scouting team have agreed is the guy. They go get him, like they did with Trubisky, like they did with Montgomery, and on and on. So that is really awesome. Now, I want to share that the other thing that was really cool about the 100 ceremony was just the camaraderie that happened with the present-day Bears. The fact that they were soaked in history and, you know, they got a really good understanding that this team may have just won one Super Bowl, but they've won 9 championships, you know, a total of 9 championships. That's nothing to sneeze about. The fact that, you know, players from today's team got to talk to guys from yesteryear was also really important. And Akeem Hicks was asked about that and, you know, what was the most important thing during the celebration, because he was there, and this is what he said.
It's a bunch of them, man. It was, number one, it was exciting, right? To see the love that we get in this city. And, shoot, when we're winning, that's what we get. This town loves defense. And so when our defense came out there, just the excitement and the energy that was in that room was awesome. And then when we did the panel, and I got to be next to some of the all-time Bear greats, especially playing my position, there's nothing like it. If you have a deep respect for the history and you have a deep respect for just football in general, like I did growing up, so rewarding.
When they were setting the bar for you during that panel, what was going through your brain?
Well, I've gotten to talk to Dan Hampton before, and I have a lot of respect for him and his knowledge of the game. And so actually listen to him, you know, tell an auditorium full of people that he expects greatness from me. That puts a weight on your shoulders, and I love to lift. So we're going to get after it.
How great is that? Weight on my shoulder, and I love to lift. That is awesome. Isn't it, Ross?
It's fantastic. You know I love it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And, you know, young players, too. I'm not absolutely sure, you know, if all of the rookies were there, but I imagine that David Montgomery was there. And
he was.
Good.
He was. Yep.
This is a city rich in running back tradition and history. I'd love to talk to him and just get his point of view as to what transpired and how it you know, has lit a fire. I mean, not that the guy needs his fire lit, but, you know, it's just an extra bit of motivation for, you know, what is really shaping up as a very, very special year. I mean, at this point, I know all of us are thinking Super Bowl. It's not just making the playoffs. It's about going all the way and winning the second Super Bowl in history. And this is just a great way to start it off and then going into a very successful mini camp. Like Ross said earlier, Trubisky is, all reports are that Trubisky is really getting a handle on this offense. And we'll hear from Matt Nagy in a little while as to what his expectations are of Trubisky coming up. But man, there's just a vibe here, isn't it, Shane?
Yeah, it's different. It's, I get excited for anything football related. This feeling for me is different with this Bears team, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but it's just there's so much confidence. You go from a team that you get excited about when they win, but now you're expecting to win every single game. And I hear a lot of beat writers and guys that cover the beat saying, the Bears got a tough schedule this year. Well, that's great. You can only play who's on your schedule, and guess what? The Bears are a great team too. So those other teams have to play the Bears. So, and that's all part of it, but it's a different vibe. I mean, I was real young when they won it before, so I don't remember a lot of the hype. I remember bits and pieces of it. But it's not just hype. This team is expecting to go out there and to do their job. And, this team is built for the long haul. This is a young team, and there's depth everywhere. How many times do we see over the years, if the Bears had an impending free agent, then they'd have to go out and overpay somebody in free agency or use reach on a guy in the draft. But now, if Danny Trevathan goes, now you got a couple prospects behind him with upside, and Iebuniwe and Josh Woods, who these guys that are coming up the ranks. I'm not used to that as a Bears fan, and you can really talk about that at every level of the defense. Probably not so much safety, but I think that they have some cornerbacks that they could put back there and maybe get some safety play out of them. But it's just, you talk about this wide receiver core. I know people are still down on Adam Shaheen, but, there's exciting depth with upside almost at every position. And it's just, Ross, I don't know, you're a younger guy too. It's not something that I'm used to. Do you ever remember it?
No, I can't remember. I mean, probably the best Bears team I saw was the team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they weren't as deep as this team right here. Nope. And they weren't as balanced as this team is, right? Like going into this season, the defense is obviously a plus, but I fully expect for the offense to catch up to them real soon. There's weapons all over the field. The offensive line is solid. It's, Ryan Pace has really done a great job, putting this roster together. Circling back to the Bears 100 thing, I think the cool thing for me was there's guys like a Roquan Smith or something like that. Like you played Aldo Akeem Hicks, and he's been here already, so he knows the culture and the vibe and the history. But you look at a guy like Roquan, he doesn't really know that yet. And when he gets a guy like Dick Butkus going up to him, he's like, man, I just want you to play violent this year. That. How does that not charge up a guy like Roquan Smith, who's already on pace to probably have an enormous season, right? And you look at the Duke Shelleys of the world who are just walking into this situation. They're like, holy shit. This is wild. This is a crazy fan base, and they're hungry for wins. And I just think another side of it to me is, you look at like Trubisky and Jimmy Mack on stage, and they're sharing that moment and the headband thing. And I don't want to put too much Jay Cutler slander out there, but it's like, I don't think Jay would have did that, I don't think Jay would have even, bought into something like that. It feels like things are happening at the right time. Matt Nagy is the perfect head coach for this kind of situation because, could you imagine John Fox on stage over that weekend?
Oh my God.
It would have been a buzzkill, It would have been brutal, so things are happening at the right time, and you feel really, really good about this football team going forward. And that Thursday night, week 1 can't come soon enough because it's like, bring on Green Bay. It's a huge moment in Soldier Field. I can't wait.
you got me fired up, Ross. All right, yeah. Shane mentioned Adam Shaheen. This is what Matt Nagy said about Adam Shaheen when he was asked by the media on Wednesday at the final day of minicamp.
I do. He's a kid that is trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out what routes, what concepts do we like, what's he do best, so we can work off of his strengths, and then whatever weaknesses he has, we'll either stay away from him or we'll try to get better at him. But it's a good problem for me as an offensive play caller that we have a lot of weapons that we feel good about, and they're all kind of different flavors in regards to sizes and speeds and attributes. So he's definitely one. Again, was coming on strong last year and then had that injury.
Man, what's the message?
Shane, just like you, I went to the Bears website to get a look at the weight that Jesper Horsted, our upcoming guest, is. He's at 215. And I also noticed that Adam Shaheen was listed at 275 pounds. I mean, wow. I had no idea he was 275.
I don't think that's updated because he has dropped weight. Okay. I think they said he dropped about 10 pounds.
Okay.
And, that's the thing with Shaheen. He's had the athleticism and everything. And Ross, you're probably an excellent one to speak on this. I mean, you can have the athleticism, but Shaheen's biggest issue has been staying healthy. And I mean, flexibility's got to be a big part of that. And you see him. They said he's doing jujitsu or something along those lines.
Martial art, yeah.
This offseason, because I mean, you can say what you want. If you go back and watch Adam Shaheen at training camp last year and leading up to the joint practices with Denver, he was taking a step until he hurt his ankle. He looked like a different player to me. And then, he came back, he fought through it, came back, and I think it was against Minnesota. He caught that 2-point conversion and landed a little bit awkward and got the concussion. So he's been kind of snake bit a little bit with the injuries like Kevin White has been. But I don't know, Ross, flexibility is a huge part of what these guys got to do as athletes. You can probably speak on that a little bit.
Hey, Ross, hold that thought for me, please. Jesper is trying to call us. Let me call him right back and get him on the line. And then let's remember about flexibility when we done with the interview.
After 149 years of football at Princeton University, this player holds the school's career receiving records with 196 catches, 28 touchdowns. He's a two-sport athlete. He used his baseball skills to track down deep passes on the football field.
Taking a deep shot. Horsted was held, and he still caught it. Jesper Horsted from Princeton at the 35 with Blace Brown all over him and no flag. See him working here at the top. Track the ball beautifully over the shoulder.
As a 6'4" wide receiver and around 220 pounds, the Bears signed him in May to play tight end. Let's keep it real. He's got a stern test ahead of him to make the Bears team, but he's got the smarts, he's got the skills. Barflies, raise your glasses and welcome in Jesper Horsted.
Jesper Horsted, welcome to Bears Barroom and Bears 100 Proof. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Did you like that intro?
I loved that. That was awesome.
I hope we got all the facts correct and I picked the right fight song from Princeton. I hope I got all that correct for you.
It sounded good to me.
Okay. All right, let me introduce my co-partners here. Shane Marsaw, who we refer to as the smartest man in the bar room. So you've got a test ahead of you. I know you're from Princeton, but this guy has got bar smarts. Shane, say hi to Jesper.
Hey, Jesper, thanks for coming on with us, man. We really appreciate it.
And then
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And then we've got a guest co-host with us. This guy is a workout warrior, so you two guys can exchange notes on that. His name is Ross Reed. Ross, say hello.
Hey, Jesper. How you doing, bud?
Doing well. How you doing, Ross?
Great.
Again, thanks very much for being on the show, and we want to start by just kind of getting your thoughts on being at Chicago Bears minicamp when you got the call as an undrafted free agent. And take us through that whole thing and what your thoughts have been.
I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster ride. Like I said, I came in with just an invite to this mini camp, and it was a new position, new offense, whole new deal. But I was really excited to do it. I was finally back healthy. I'd kind of gotten hurt, had some hamstring injuries around my pro day and around training and stuff. So I was feeling good and came out, and I thought it went well. But they were kind of undecided about me, so I got on the plane to go back to school, and I had the Saints lined up next weekend for their minicamp tryout. And by the time my plane landed, I had like 3 voicemails from Coach Nagy and like my agent and my parents, all saying like, congratulations, like the Bears signed you. So it was a real whirlwind. Like I got on and I was like, wow, that was a really cool organization and culture. I'm pretty frustrated to not be a part of that, but quickly turned around, and I think it's been fantastic. I mean, I've really loved it so far. And I'm very glad it worked out this way.
Jesper, that position switch that you mentioned, the Bears website has you listed at 215. Have they given you a goal weight that they want to see you for training camp? And how is the weight gain and that whole thing going?
I haven't been 215 for a very long time, so that's a little bit inaccurate, but that's okay. They did. I don't need to be any like 260 tight end. That's not really going to be my role here, but they said they want me around 240, and I weighed in a couple days ago at 237, so
nice.
It hasn't been too much of a problem. I mean, when I came into the minicamp, I was 230 already. I wanted to be something that, could be a very large wide receiver or a smaller tight end, and just transition to either one as the team saw fit. So hasn't been too much of a problem. Definitely it's new to be lining up in line, and it's a different set of routes you're running, and, to be doing this inline blocking and learning the schemes like that. That's the new stuff, and that's part of the difficulties, I would say, along with learning this new offense. But, as a whole, it's actually been an easier transition than I expected.
Jesper, I got to ask about the name. Is that like a family name? It's so unique. Where did that come from?
It's not really a family name. Both sides of my family are very Scandinavian, and so it's just kind of a Danish name, I think, that they had encountered. My family was traveling over there and really liked it, so not too much story behind it. It is unique, though.
Jesper, tell us a little bit about your experiences at Princeton. As we heard in the intro, you broke some records there. What's it like for playing for a school that's had a football team for 149 years, Ivy League school? Share some of your experiences and your overall thoughts about playing at Princeton.
It's really cool. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I mean, my number one goal for myself and my family is to get a really good education, and then secondary was to play sports, and I thought I could do them both. So Princeton kind of gave me that opportunity. I didn't really know what I was going to get in terms of sports. And I got there, and I was really impressed by the competition. It was way beyond what I played with in high school, and it took me some transitioning time to get used to it. And, I mean, like you said, there's a really rich history and tradition there. This year they're going to have some really cool events surrounding that 150th year of college football. And it's really good stuff they got going on there. The classroom is no joke, but neither is the stuff that happens on the football field. So I loved my time there, and I was fortunate enough to be able to play baseball too, like you mentioned earlier. I wouldn't change a thing. I really enjoyed my time at Princeton.
Did playing baseball help you at all with your football skills?
I think it really did. I think to hit a 95-mile-per-hour fastball or curveball of the sorts, you really have to develop good hand-eye coordination. And I think that will transition maybe a little bit indirectly to catching a football, but then also obviously tracking the baseball. I'm a big believer in kind of the cross-training stuff that occurs when you just play multiple sports and do multiple activities. Then when you return back to, like in my case, football, I would just notice things that I was doing better than the previous season.
Jesper, I know as a rookie and as an undrafted guy especially, they want you to be seen and not heard. But I gotta ask you and Mr. Harvard alumnus Ben Broniker, has there been a back and forth with you guys? Princeton and Harvard.
No, not at all. He's been very helpful, actually. But we have a pretty good friendship going on. There's no animosity between the two schools. We do like to joke around a lot, and so do the coaches with that little school rivalry in the tight end room, but definitely no hard feelings between us.
Jesper, what's it like? I mean, it's got to be intense, right? You're coming from college, and then you show up to a football team that won the division last year and it was in the playoffs. And what's the intensity like just already like around Hallis Hall and around the football team and whatnot?
It's super intense, but you wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, to come into this organization that has undergone some incredible changes, and they're doing really good stuff right now. The attendance throughout the whole OTAs was really impressive to me as I talked to some other friends, and it seems like, some of the star players and guys are kind of missing here and there. That just wasn't the case here. I mean, these people are locked in and they have a goal in mind, and it's really cool to learn from the way the vets are doing that and be a part of it as well.
Jesper, you talked about the tradition at Princeton, and the Chicago Bears have their own tradition. Were you at the 100 celebration? And if so, can you share some thoughts about what that was like? And if you weren't there, can you tell us what the talk around camp was about the celebration?
I was there, and I think I had no idea the Bears had such a following and such a passionate fan base. It was so cool. I think that, they introduced the team one by one, and I walked out there on the stage, and I didn't really know what to expect. And then I walked out there, and I'm pretty sure that was the largest crowd I've ever been in front of. And this was months from the season even beginning. People are already so excited about it. And then I got to come back the next day and run a couple stations with the kids. And here I am, signing autographs and stuff. And I mean, it really doesn't feel like I'm any kind of star or anything has changed yet. I got a ways to go before I'm really a true member of this team in my mind. But it's still, very cool experience to see how passionate these fans are. And, in a way, I am a part of it.
Absolutely.
Jesper, how have you had your wow? I know you haven't played in any games, obviously, yet, but have you had your wow NFL moment? I mean, you're walking into a locker room with guys like Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks. How has that transition been for you? Coming from a place like Princeton, you see a guy that goes out and signs a $140 million contract as one of the top 3 defenders in all of the NFL. What goes through your mind when you walk up and see a guy like that?
I think I have a wow moment about every period at practice. The talent of these guys is incredible. I definitely have seen nothing like it. And there are times I just stop and I should be following the play and focusing on what I'm doing that route. But some of these guys are doing such incredible things, whether it's, Tariq Cohen making amazing catches or cuts, or the way Khalil Mack is off the line, and is pretty much unblockable. I mean, yeah, at times all I can just do is be wow, I'm lucky to be this close and spectating this incredible athletic feat. There are definitely many moments like that.
Obviously, without going into too much detail, what can you say about Matt Nagy's offense? Is it kind of easy to pick up? Is it something you've never seen before? Is it, highly complex?
It's really cool. It's different than the way my Princeton offense was run. We were a no-huddle team signaling in. But the creativity behind the play calling is really similar. We had an incredible offensive coordinator there, and both Coach Helfrich and Coach Nagy do an amazing job getting guys in different spots, even spots that you would never really expect them to line up in. And I think that just really confuses the defenses. I mean, another awe moment for me has just been, these coaches' knowledge of the game. And that's really cool. I've learned so much already since I've been here. So I've been very impressed by the offense, and I came from a very good one in college.
Of course, one of the major storylines with the Bears is the progression of Mitch Trubisky. He's coming into his 3rd year as a pro, 2 years now, starting his 2nd year under the Matt Nagy offense. All of the news reports we've heard and sound bites from the coach and some players is about how confident Mitch Trubisky is, and he's showing players the offense, the new players. He's explaining the offense. He's reading defenses. He's making adjustments at the line to aid his protection and so forth. Tell me what you have personally seen from Mitch Trubisky and kind of describe his strengths as a quarterback.
I mean, I think you did a great job of listing him off. He has this offense down and can answer every single question that is asked in the meetings of him. And then on top of that, is helping a lot of the new rookie guys get to learn it, because it is really complicated. There are a lot of plays and a lot of different options within each play. So he's doing a great job of mentoring the younger guys. I don't know. I mean, I don't get to take a ton of reps with him right now. I'm working my way up there, but it is very impressive to watch. He has the control of this offense. He's the leader of this team, no doubt. He looks really good, but, this is, again, my first NFL experience, so.
Hey, Jesper, can you kick field goals?
No, I can't. Don't do that stuff.
I gotta follow
up. But the kickers look good, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. The Bears and Matt Nagy have taken a different approach this year. like today when they're ending camp, if they're lining up the team and putting all the pressure on the kickers, what's going through your guys? You're hearing about the Augusta silence and all that. Have you ever experienced anything like that, all surrounded around field goal kickers?
No, I certainly haven't. But I think this goes back to that intensity we were talking about earlier. This team did finish the top of the division, but they definitely didn't finish the season the way they wanted to, and they're not going to forget that happened. And I think that's really going to help them this season. I think that just bottling up that feeling is really driving the guys to practice really hard. And the kickers are looking really good. If you saw today, they both nailed the field goals at the end of practice. So we got to get out of conditioning, which is pretty awesome. I think that the pressure now is going to pay off once the season hits.
So what's the next step for you now? I mean, obviously there's a little bit of a lull in action before training camp starts. Like, how do you, what do you do to pass the time now over the next, I guess we got about 45 days or so until we get to camp?
Yeah, we do. I'm going to go home and take a little bit of time. It'll be my first time home in quite some time. It's been pretty busy the last couple of years at college. So get my body right and continue to eat well, and then I'm just going to come back out here. I mean, I have a lot to do with this transition and this new offense, and even just being an undrafted, unsigned guy, I got a lot of people to pass up if I want to be a part of this team. So I'm going to be back around Hallis Hall training and, making sure I have the offense down, and I'm in great shape going into camp, give myself the best shot that I can.
Well, you certainly have the skills. I mean, I was looking at your highlight reel from Princeton, and boy, you can go up and get that ball. Your route running is excellent. And I like to ask young players this question to kind of get a gauge as to, I think it's kind of a way for us to see, how badly you want that. How badly do you want to play in the NFL and with the Bears? And that's the question. How badly do you want this?
Yeah, I mean, very, very badly. I feel like this has been something I've been working up to pretty much my whole life, and it was always a dream. You never really know if it's going to work out, but you work as hard as you can nonetheless. And, here it is. And so to do anything that would limit my chances, ruin my chances, hinder my chances, it doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm kind of doing all I can to see it through. If it doesn't work out, it's kind of why I went to Princeton to begin with, is so I still have something I can fall through to, but to be honest, there's nothing else I want to be doing besides playing for this team.
Jesper, can you, somebody that we've been waiting for as Bears fans, and a guy that's been a little bit snake bitten, is in that tight end room with you, number 87, Adam Shaheen. Can you speak on him a little bit and what you see from him and his work ethic and, just his athletic ability overall?
He's a beast. He's a quiet guy. And I'm okay with that. I kind of am on the field too. I kind of just like to go about my business and focus on what I'm doing. And so I connect with him well, but he has made really, really consistently difficult catches this whole camp that I don't think any of the other tight ends are making. I've been very impressed with how he's coming along, and I could see why he might catch some flack or you might be snake bitten by him. He's not a super vocal guy and not the classic rah-rah football guy, but he's been very helpful to me, and I've enjoyed having him in the room, and I've definitely learned a lot from him, both in the way he practices and in the way he's going out and performing. So I think you got good stuff coming this year from him.
Were you pissed or upset that you weren't drafted? Did you, how long did it come to, did you come to grips with the moment and say, all right, screw it, let's move on, let's get to work?
I definitely was. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, and I kind of went through the whole thing. I almost got drafted for baseball last year, so I kind of had an idea of what was coming, and not to get my hopes up too high. But, I still was really hoping that I had a good enough career that would get me signed somewhere. And when that didn't happen, I was definitely frustrated, but I also knew that I was the same player whether I got drafted or signed or didn't get signed at all. So I still would have my opportunity at the minicamp to prove what I can do, and I still believed in my skills enough to, put me on a roster. So it was definitely frustrating and a trying time, but, it worked out, and I'm very happy with the spot I'm in right now.
Jesper, we'll go around the horn one more time and ask you each a final question, and we'll let you get out of here. I'd like to know who on the defense, when you lined up in practice, who on the defense kind of impressed you, maybe a linebacker that was on you or somebody in the defensive backfield. Share with us a name of a player that you said, wow, this guy is really good.
I definitely will. I will say it's not a full assessment right now. The game is going 100 miles per hour for me, and I'm so focused on like what I'm doing and what the defense is like conceptually that I might not even always catch the number of the guy that's lined up across from me. But I will say that when I've gone against Duke, the new rookie, I've been very impressed with the way he can cover even a larger receiver. So I think you guys got a very good pick in him. But I also will say that there are a lot of people I don't know their names yet or their numbers yet, and I'm just so focused on what my read is that I don't even take time to process who's lining up against me.
Sure, absolutely.
Jesper, I know that you probably don't want to read your press clippings, but I'm going to read one for you that came out today from Ben Fennell, who works at NFL Network. I said it was perfect timing for us here at the bar room, and I was talking to Aldo a little bit pre-show about this. He sent out a random tweet today that said, "Hey, don't sleep on Jesper Horsted. If I had my druthers, I'd add 10 pounds and make him a tight end. Extremely good red zone target. 2015 Minnesota High School Athlete of the Year, joining the likes of Joe Mauer, Paul Molitor, Dave Winfield, Tyus Jones. Finished as Princeton's all-time leading receptions leader, undefeated senior season." What do you have to? That's a pretty good group of guys to live up to.
Oh, really?
There.
Yeah, it is. That was definitely the second I entered high school. That was my goal to win that award. I knew pretty much every single person who had won that award leading up. I very closely followed it. And it was definitely one of my goals. Back to what I was talking about earlier, where I believe that if you train hard in multiple sports, you're going to see results that you might not have seen if I had just focused on football rather than baseball and basketball. So that's one of my, big mantras in sports. And I'll have to thank Ben. That's a very kind tweet of him.
Have you gotten a chance yet to enjoy some of the delicacies around Chicago, like an Italian beef or any of the pizza?
They brought us in deep dish one of the first weeks. It was delicious. I had it a couple times before. I'm from Minnesota, so it's pretty easy. Trek down here, I made it down a couple of times, and I got to try Italian beef the first time. Cuisine's incredible. I really love it here. It's a great spot. My family, will be able to come down if it all works out. So, really hoping it does.
Nice. Good luck to you, brother.
Jesper, we asked all our guests if they could do a station ID for us, so we'd love for you to say your name, your position, that you're with the Bears, and you are listening to Bears Barroom Radio. Do you mind doing that for us?
Absolutely. This is Jesper Horsted, tight end for the Chicago Bears. You're listening to Bears Barroom Radio.
Shane, tell them how many
times. Jesper.
Tell them how many times it took Akeem Hicks to do that.
Oh my God, Akeem Hicks! We were up in the double figures. He couldn't figure it out, Jesper. It was crazy.
I bet you Akeem Hicks is one number that you kind of recognize. He's probably the biggest guy on earth, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm glad I don't have to line up against him. I think if I ever did, you would certainly remember that.
Jesper, we're very sincere when we say, thank you very much for carving out some time to talk to us. We're very, very passionate Chicago Bears fans, and one of the things that we all have in common, not only the people who work here at the bar room, but all of the people that listen to us, is that we care very much about the players. Not only the players who are on the team, but the players who are fighting to get on the team. And you guys bring the most interesting stories because, hey, this is your livelihood. Hey, this is your dream. You want to become a member of the Chicago Bears. You want to play professional football. And so for you to come in here and share your story, let me just assure you that now you've got thousands of fans who are in your corner and are praying and hoping for the very best for you.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys doing this for me. I love that you guys have this kind of support and fan base, and like I said, I'm very happy to be a Bear. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. That means a lot coming from a native Minnesota fan.
There you go.
That's great.
All right, Jesper.
Good luck to you, Jesper.
Take care.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Good man. Good man.
That was excellent.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, Ross. Before you go, I want you to share with us.
You had some Shaheen stuff too. Remember?
Oh yeah, the flexibility stuff.
Thank
you. I would like you to talk on that because I mean, obviously, it's hugely important to any athlete. I mean, somebody that is that 6'7" and they're listing him at 270 pounds? That's got to be even more important for a guy like that.
So it's perfect that we just had Jesper on, because to me the hardest thing is when you're one of these small school athletes, you're just naturally gifted, right? He walks out in the field, Shaheen, when he was at Ashland, Jesper at Princeton, and they were just naturally the best athlete on the field. So they didn't have to work too hard off the field to be great. They were just going to dominate. And I think with Adam Shaheen, he's got to figure out how to take better care of his body and nutrition and stuff like that off the field, and not just, you can't just show up on the field anymore and say, I'm going to be dominant. I think one of the worst things that people did was label him Baby Gronk at the beginning of his career, right? Because, it took a long time for Gronk to earn that. And even coming out of school, Gronk was a hell of a football player from a big school, So I think Adam now probably gets it. And I think this would be a big year from him as he knows how to be a pro, how to take care of his body, work on his conditioning, work on his flexibility and his mobility work and stuff like that. And, I expect him to, play at least 12, 13 games this year. And if he does, he could have a breakout season. I mean, he's going to be, he is a thoroughbred on the field, and he does have a rapport with Trubisky. I believe that. So I'm looking for big things from him.
So you're saying that you shouldn't be eating at Chipotle every meal then, Ross?
Should not be eating at Chipotle. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
All right. In typical 100 proof style, I have to get Ross's comment on something that was just texted to me by our man Dan Aguirre, the voice of Bears Barroom. This is from Deadspin.com.
He said it to me, too. Jesus, have fun with this one, Ross.
Former NFL tight end Kellen Winslow II was convicted of rape, indecent exposure, and lewd conduct on Monday, charges that stem from separate incidents involving Winslow sexually assaulting a woman, exposing himself to another woman, and touching himself in front of a third woman. Now, that's nothing to laugh about. That's serious stuff. But let me get to the funny part here. Let me just read from the headline.
Not funny for his teammates.
Yeah, really. No. The report says that Kellen Winslow could not stop masturbating in front of his teammates.
How does that? I mean, how do you not kick the shit out of that dude?
Yes.
I mean, really?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and for that matter, I mean, we can make jokes about this to the kingdom come, but if the team was aware that he was doing that, they should have got this guy psychiatric help right away after his teammates kicked his ass.
Yes. Okay.
Ross, you've been in a lot of locker rooms as a conditioning coach, strength and training coach. Have you ever seen anybody that just couldn't stop masturbating in front of the other guys?
I've never seen that. The most I saw was a lot of man butt, like just naked man butt. But that takes it to another level. Like maybe that's why like Brady Quinn is so salty these days.
Yeah, right.
Just because he had to see Kellen Winslow whacking in the corner all that time. He's like, imagine you playing for the Browns. Yeah, right? Imagine you playing for the Browns, which is already an awful franchise, and then the starting tight end is whacking it in front of you. I wonder why Brady Quinn's always so salty all the time.
Jeez. What a sick guy.
Dan sent that to me, and I had to read it twice. I'm like, what the fuck? It's an NFL. Good Lord, I can't grasp that one.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully, again, I hate to kind of laugh on that, given the fact that this guy was sexually assaulting women. And so he's definitely a piece of trash, and hopefully he spends a lot of time in jail. And it's too bad.
Where he belongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because his father is a great guy. I'm old enough to have witnessed that incredible game where the Chargers went into double overtime, and he had to be helped off the field. Because he just left it all out on that football field. It's one of the most outstanding athletic achievements I've seen in any athletic event. Kellen Winslow, the original tight end, and it's just sad that his son has turned out the way he has. And I got to believe that has something to do with all of the roids that he was doing, because when he was in college, he was just rumored that this guy was doing tons of stuff, and that may have just really screwed him up, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he clearly had some demons, growing up, and I mean, you can kind of see it in his interviews and stuff like that. He just was a little off, and I'm sure it was very difficult, not to make excuses for him at all, but I'm sure it was also very difficult to actually live up to Kellen Winslow Sr., and when you name your kids a junior and your dad played in the NFL, there's a ton of pressure that gets put on them, but, hey, look, at the very least, we don't have to worry about Adam Shaheen jerking off in front of Mr. Trubisky.
Let's hope not. Maybe he better go to Chipotle, fill his hands up, right?
Ross, before we get you out of here, give us your thoughts on expectations for 2019. I'm sure you're with us. You're thinking Super Bowl, but just give us an analysis of what your expectations are.
You know what? Obviously, I think the expectation, anytime a team wins the division and goes to the playoffs and was a field goal away from advancing, you've got Super Bowl aspirations because the team not only comes back for the most part intact, but there's upgrades via free agency and the draft. Some personal things I'm looking for. I really want to see Trubisky take a big step in this season, right?
He's got to.
Absolutely. Like, I want to see him put up 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I think in today's NFL, that's certainly more than doable. So, I want to see the offense as a whole, led by Trubisky, catch up to what the defense is doing. And if they do that, they will be in Miami again for the Super Bowl this year.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, Ross, we're going to let you go. And again, I appreciate very much you carving out some time. How's the little one doing?
He's doing great right now, man. Thank you for asking. He's keeping us busy. He's a blast, but I'm loving every second of it.
Excellent. And next time I'm downtown, I'm going to give you a ring, and maybe we can get together for a beer or something.
Please do. Please do, Aldo.
Okay, brother.
Shane, you're the man.
All right. Thanks, Ross.
Yep. See you, boys.
Well, here we are, Shane, just you and me all alone in the bar room.
Put your pants back on, Aldo. Jeez.
We've never had an issue like that here in the bar room with all the different characters that we've had.
You can only see me from the chest up, brother. There's been a lot of shows.
I have noticed that table you're leaning in front of sometimes levitates a little bit.
Yeah, it's shaking a little bit. I don't know if you heard me, but I said, now you know why Kellen Winslow smashed up his motorcycle. Probably yanking one out in the parking lot when he tore his knee all up.
Oh, my God. That is sad stuff, man.
I've been in plenty of locker rooms, and how does that happen more than once for 10 seconds? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I totally know what you're saying.
Man.
Oh, my gosh. I had a buddy who told me that when he was in college, he was drunk one night, and he gets into the shower to take a shower, and all of a sudden, as he's shampooing his hair, he feels something hot down his leg, and he turns around, and it's another one of the guys in college that's pissing on his leg. And I'm like, did you punch him in the face? And he goes, no, I kind of liked it. I go, okay, nice knowing you, buddy.
Yeah. Should we tell all the listeners that that's really the reason we got rid of Phil? He was jerking off during 100 proof. It was really weird, but
yeah, it was, maybe we have to. I think that if you play one of his songs, I forgot which one it is, but if you play it backwards, you can actually hear the jerking off sounds. I don't know. All right.
Hello, Bears Bar Room. My name is Dan Aguirre. On Twitter, I'm at BearsFanDan. You may have heard me on various Bears Bar Room platforms. Since I've gotten this gig, barflies, specifically the female ones, have begun to refer to me as Sexy Dan. Now, I may have the deepest, most masculine pipes in the Bears Bar Room. And even though I graduated college with honors and worked 2 jobs while achieving that, I still may not have arguably the intellect of one gentleman, the brain power of one guy, and I'm turning the mic over to him right now, the smartest man in the bar room. It's Shane Marsaw for Tweets of the Week.
You think he was masturbating when he did that?
I was going to say, how do I follow up the masturbation session with my tweets of the week? These are going to have to be spectacular, right?
Yes, indeed. This is our weekly feature when we do weekly shows. Shane Marsaw, he spends a lot of time scouring it on your behalf to identify terrible tweets and also good tweets. So we always start with the terrible ones. Shane, I think you had your work cut out for you.
Oh, I got a slew of them today. I mean, this segment's been very popular even with other podcasts, Aldo. Right?
Yes, it has.
Whoops. But yeah, we're going to get things kicked off. When you're talking about shit, there's no other place to go other than Detroit. And this is Lion Lowdown, at Lion Lowdown, sent out a tweet on an article that he wrote, and it's by Bruce Walker. And you can find Bruce Walker at Smoke25. And the article talks about the secret formula, how the Detroit Lions are poised to emulate the success of the New England Patriots. The Detroit Lions are going to emulate the success of the New England Patriots, Aldo.
Of course they are.
Yeah. I mean, is all of that knowledge stored in that number 2 pencil up there?
So this guy, he's a writer for some Detroit blog or something like that?
Yeah, Bruce Walker, then it's at lionlowdown.com. I mean, I get it. You know, fans, short for fanatic, they get excited about their teams, but Jesus, listen, we're not going to see another New England Patriots. Not in our lifetime.
No.
I mean, it's just no way.
No way.
And maybe Detroit should just focus on I don't know, playing over 500 football or maybe winning a division.
That would be nice.
Try that first before you're going to become a dynasty like New England. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Get into the wild card playoffs, protect the quarterback, that poor Matt Stafford. He's been sacked, I think, more times than any other quarterback if you accumulate all the sacks over the last several years. You could,
Ken Chuck Beer, we got to give him that.
Right. You could, focus a little bit on having a head coach who isn't picking stupid fights with reporters about how they're sitting down. You can focus on establishing a running game. The Lions haven't had a running game since, I don't know, Barry Sanders or something like that. Yeah. There's a lot of things that the Detroit Lions need to improve on. And for anyone to reach out and say that, they're going to emulate the New England Patriots is it's
fucking
an
lunatic.
Yes, thank you. Well put.
All right, so we're going to stay in Detroit, and this is Logan Lamorandier.
Well, yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He happened to send out a tweet. The Bears' window with the core of their current roster is closing extremely fast. One of the youngest teams in the NFL. We just came off a division title. And yes, we got our asses handed to us by Cody Parkey in the playoffs. Bears roster, I mean, the Bears, injuries notwithstanding, this Bears roster is set up for a long time. I mean, it just, with the depth and everybody keeps on referring to Khalil Mack's contract. Yes, it is a huge contract, but he deserves every fucking penny of it.
Yep.
And it's not like Ryan Pace and Joey Lane went into that with not knowing the repercussions of it. The cap is going up about $10 million every single year, and you see this Carson Wentz deal. Mitch Trubisky shares an agent. Carson Wentz got his after year 3. You're probably going to see Mitch do the same thing, signing after year 3. So I don't think that the Bears' window is closing anytime soon, not with the talent that's on this roster, the talent that's, we're going to lose some guys like probably Danny Trevathan, Taylor Gabriel. I think is probably a 1-year guy here in Chicago unless something ridiculous happens, but that's all part of it. And the most important piece to that whole equation, it's not Mitch, it's Ryan Pace. He's shown a propensity to have 4th and 5th and 6th. Look what Jesper just said. Who's the guy that he just pointed out? In Duke Shelley.
Duke Shelley, right.
6th-round draft pick. And he's a guy that's being singled out. Hogan Johns were talking about it on their podcast that they put out today, talking about how he's a guy that's going to be around for a long time. I mean, I didn't know shit about the kid when they drafted him. I think I was talking to you and Danny. I'm like, yeah, I really have no idea about Duke Shelley, but Ryan Pace does. That's where he makes his living, and that's another reason why he made the Khalil Mack trade, because he's comfortable with drafting in these later rounds and uncovering gems. So I think we can expect more of that in the future.
Hey, when I was in college, I took psychology. And actually I failed because I was starting to get worried about.
No shit.
I was doing some self-diagnosis, and I was starting to get worried about my own psychological well-being. But nonetheless, I learned enough in that class to tell you that I think that what Logan is doing there is he's expressing his fear about the Chicago Bears being a long-time division, or I should say, Super Bowl contender, I think.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to come up with excuses, and when in reality, he doesn't know anything about the salary cap. Logan, you don't. Come on the show and tell us you don't. And you don't know anything about Joel Iyiegbuniwe or Josh Woods, two possible replacements for Danny Trevathan when and if he leaves the Chicago Bears. You don't know anything about the depth, the young players on this team. So, Logan, I'm going to do some dime store psychology here. Go see your shrink, brother. Go see a professional. They'll help you with this problem, and then maybe you can do some honest analysis about the Chicago Bears.
So we're going to step it up a little bit here, Aldo. This is a guy with a blue check mark. Ooh. Sam Monson at PFF Sam.
Oh, okay. He's one of the big guys over there, right?
Oh, yeah, and he doesn't seem to be a Mitch Trubisky or a Chicago Bears fan, but he loves him some Adrian Amos. But he sent out a tweet that said, Allen Robinson has now made Christian Hackenberg, Blake Bortles, and Mitch Trubisky all look good.
Oh, man. What an idiot. Sam!
Yeah. Yep. And it's just, I don't get it. And obviously I think there's a lot of crap stirring there. People see, it all started with Peter Bukowski and all these guys, Evan Silva, they're taking their pot shots at the Bears and Mitch Trubisky. And of course we're going to, jump on it. And, it's like I have a complete degenerate cousin, but you know what? He's still my family. If I can say whatever I want about him, but you're not gonna, you know what I mean? That's
right.
That's how it goes. But
Absolutely.
Bears fans attacked Sam, and he sent out another tweet right after that. He said, I might need to add a second blue mark by my name for the Chicago Bears fans because they're so butthurt.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he's going down the ladder to stir some more shit. And that, you know what, just go put some new batteries in your calculator and go write a fucking article, that'll make all the fucking stat nerds happy.
Right.
Don't come attack fans. That's where I have a fucking problem with shit like that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you work for Pro Football Focus, which is an organization that NBC Sports uses their stats during their Sunday night telecast, and Chris Collinsworth is trying to build an organization there that has some legitimacy. For you to go trolling Chicago Bears fans and being thin-skinned about the criticism leveled your way, that's not a good look for PFF, and it's not a good look for you, Sam. So you should take it from an old fuck like me, 60-year-old guy who's made those mistakes in the past. Don't do it, dude. Don't do it. What else you got, brother?
So here's another asshole with a blue check mark. Friend of the show, Peter Bukowski.
Oh, Peter! He's still employed?
I don't know. I haven't seen him too much lately, but we were talking about the panels there at Bears 100, and when Mitch sat down with Jim McMahon, and McMahon put the sunglasses on him and the headband, Peter instantly sent out a picture with Mitch sitting in his chair with the headband and stuff on, and he tweeted out, when a picture smells like Axe body spray, because he's got to continue, but it goes back, Aldo, just like you said, it goes back to the guy from Detroit.
Right.
These guys, if they didn't give a shit about the Bears for real, that wouldn't fucking bother them.
Exactly.
They know that the Chicago Bears are a better football team, and they're fucking scared of it.
Yep.
Peter's scared of it. His little fucking bow tie is getting a little bit tighter. You know, it's pushing the cocks out of his mouth because everything's closing off.
What is that stuff coming out of his ears? Oh, it's semen.
Yeah. And all right, I'm gonna end up. This is one more, Aldo, and this is the tweet itself isn't bad, but the premise that it surrounds is what pisses me off. And love this guy, absolute warrior. Thomas Q. Jones, at Thomas Q. Jones, sent out a tweet saying, "No, I wasn't invited to Bears 100, but I've never had any hard feelings, and I'll always have love for the Chicago Bears organization." Mm-hmm. What a drop of the ball. I mean, it's disgusting how he's not there, Aldo. I mean, there's been so much good with this team, this organization. He was the epitome of a fucking warrior.
Yep.
To those teams that made their runs in 05 and 06. It's just, how is he not there? And listen, we had Jason McKee on this show, and I love Jason McKee. Mm-hmm. But Jason McKee, his fullback, is going to be there? Mm-hmm. Is it just because he's from town and you're not going to even invite Thomas Jones? Mm-hmm. Come on. I mean, that's bad, man. It's gross.
Yeah, you know, the nicest thing that I can say is that it's a serious misstep by the Chicago Bears organization. Maybe it's something they overlooked. I think it was Butkus that said that there's like 1,500 living Chicago Bears players, and the Bears organization has numbers for only about 600 of them. Clearly, they have Thomas Jones's number.
Oh, my God.
Of course. I mean, you can easily
active
find
on Twitter with, it doesn't matter who it is.
Exactly.
You know, it's just, I don't know, the way that everything was going, you spoke, and I know Greg Braggs was talking about the lines and how people were upset, and I understand that. I've never been a huge autograph guy myself, but some people are, and that's completely fine. I totally understand it. But something like this, to me, it comes off as, I don't know if there was bad blood with the way that everything unfolded when he went. Maybe, I don't know, was it a Ted Phillips thing that was involved? 'Cause I know Thomas Jones wanted more money, and the Bears invested in Cedric Benson. I don't know.
Right.
I'd be speaking on the line if I said that's what it was, but there is no reason. I mean, come on. They're gonna announce the 90th man on the current roster, and you're not gonna have a fucking guy like that there.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's just, it really put a damper on that whole Bears 100 celebration for me, because I'm like, it seems like that's something that the Bears from fucking 10, 15, 20 years, something so petty, that it seems like that's something they would do. And I mean, I'm not going to buy maybe they overlooked it bullshit like that. I mean, I think that there must be something there on the Bears end, because Thomas Jones deserved to be on a fucking panel.
Right.
With the 2016 Super Bowl team.
Yep.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It's
just if he shares the story about the disappointment of the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
that's something that he has shared here at Bears Barroom a couple of times on BHL and on this show, 100 Proof, and it's riveting. That story is riveting, and every fan should know it so that they can get a better understanding of what these players go through, the highs and the lows, because that was definitely a low not only for him but for Bears fans. Yeah, it's a shame.
Maybe he's the perfect. Maybe we should. We're into our 5-week lull here, Aldo. Maybe we should reach out to him and have him come on, and I know he probably is going to take the high road, but there's nothing wrong with talking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send him an invite. I really wish.
I was bummed.
Yeah,
I was really bummed.
Yeah, and and the way he stated in that tweet was, I would have liked to have gone. So nobody called him, and I can't believe that the Bears organization is upset for him for anything. He's been a total class guy, and if he wanted more money, hey, half the Bears that were there, the old-time Bears wanted more money.
I want more money. Yeah, everybody
right.
does. Who doesn't?
Exactly.
And I'll read the exact tweet as he put it, just so if people haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
A guy reached out to Thomas and said, "The real question now for you, TJ, were you invited by the Bears to the event?" Thomas replied with, "No, I wasn't invited, but never any hard feelings. I'll always have love for the Bears organization and the priceless memories from my time there at Hallis Hall and Soldier Field. It's so cool to still feel the love from my short time there." Hashtag bear down, hashtag once a bear, always a bear. I mean, just, you talk about the epitome of class.
Absolutely.
It's that guy right there. And I mean, you talk about somebody that you want to bring into your organization to talk to a David Montgomery, to talk to these young guys. You know, Thomas Jones was picked, I believe, 7th overall in 2000. He was drafted ahead of Brian Urlacher.
That's
out
right.
of the University of Virginia, and he went to Tampa or to Arizona and didn't succeed.
Right.
He went down to Tampa. He saw a little bit of success, then jumped at the opportunity to come to Chicago to be the guy, and things blew up for him. And then from Chicago to the Jets, and he did very well there. And it's, I don't know, it's just, it really, with the way that everything unfolded, not to repeat myself for a 5th time, but it really, really upset me that he was not there, and it just made it that much worse that he wasn't even invited.
Yeah, sad stuff, man.
And finally, we have unequivocal evidence that good tweets exist as well. Drink up, barflies. These are the best tweets of the week.
Well, bring us up here, Shane. Share some good stuff for us so that we can get off that downer, because that definitely was a downer, bro.
Absolutely. And this, I got to go back to another blue checkmark guy, and a guy that I'm not a real big fan of, but Mark Schlereth. He sent out a tweet, and he said, "Hey, my buddy just sent me this. Could this be true? Let me tell you about Kirk Cousins' career stats. Kirk Cousins' record in primetime games, 5 wins, 13 losses. Kirk Cousins' record versus winning teams, 4 wins, 24 losses.
Holy cow!
Kirk Cousins' record versus winning teams in 2018, 0-5. Kirk Cousins' career road record, 12 wins, 23 losses, 2 ties. And to wrap it up, Kirk Cousins' career record on Monday Night Football, 0-7.
Oh my gosh, we got to compare those numbers with Matt Stafford, because his numbers are pretty bad too.
And who is the most vilified quarterback in the NFC North by a wide margin? Our
let's
guy.
see. Yeah, I think it's Mitch Trubisky. Holy shit, unbelievable.
Yeah.
God, that was a good one. Jesus. Yeah, I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to turn around that record. I have a lot of respect for the Vikings, but I don't think that it's trending the other way. That's for sure.
I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. Although our backups in Week 17 were kicking the shit out of him.
Very true.
You know, and that's not just on Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's a testament to the Minnesota Vikings franchise and roster, and you got to throw Mike Zimmer in there. He's the leader of all that, so you got to throw him in there. But that's quite the eye opener. People want to bitch about Mitch Trubisky. I think maybe you should turn your focus onto the $84 million man, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Keep that tweet handy. We need to retweet that a couple hundred times.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to send it to my old pal, BJ Rydell.
And this is a new tweet that came out tonight. Adam Schefter, Bears have reached agreement with third-round pick running back David Montgomery per a source. As the team now heads into the quiet month, the only draft pick without a deal, 6th-round pick, Kansas State cornerback Duke Shelley. And, you know, hey, kickers ended camp today on a positive note. You heard Jesper talk about it. They got out of their conditioning drills because of that, and then the Bears cap it off by signing. Let's be honest, he's going to be their horse. I mean, there's a lot of positive pub coming out. Talked about Hogan Johns. You know, they're not just throwing out praise to any player. They said sometimes you just see a guy. Greg Braggs talked about it. Sometimes he said, you know, and he didn't know a whole lot about Tariq Cohen. None of us did. At camp, you just looked at him and he was just a different motherfucker. Yeah. You know what I mean? You could just tell that he was different. David Montgomery's getting a lot of that, you know, and let's be honest, mini camps, OTAs, all that stuff, you're not doing a lot of running plays. It's more of a passing camp, really.
Absolutely.
And they're talking about the fluidity, how he's incorporated himself into this team atmosphere. He's going to be the Bears' workhorse, and there's a lot of positives with the Chicago Bears team. And I think to get him done, not to have any of that stuff hanging over their heads going into this dead period, I think that was a kind of the icing on top as we go into the vacation mode for the NFL here. And, it's just, like I said, next time we see these guys, Aldo, it's the real deal.
It is indeed. Do you have more tweets? Because I've got a soundbite that will complement what you're talking about with the rookies.
Nope. That was the best tweet of the week right there.
All right. Congratulations. Who was it that sent that out?
Adam Schefter.
Congratulations, Adam Schefter. I believe you're a 2-time winner now.
I'm sure he fucking totally excited.
Should we send him a ball?
Yeah, absolutely. He can't chug water. Did you see that video?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Did you ever see the video when they had in the hallway at ESPN?
Yeah, I did.
They were shooting footballs at him.
Yeah, I did see that.
It looked like the ball was picking him up off the ground.
Yeah, nothing about Adam Schefter screams athlete. No. That's for sure.
All right. This is Matt Nagy talking about, he was asked about his impressions of the rookie class.
Yeah, really high. For our guys, a lot of times in my experience, when you get out the first probably 3 to 4 days that you see them, you get a good feel for what you think you saw on tape and everything. Well, they continued to just, I think probably the biggest thing when I think about it, the biggest thing would be that they're just all extremely mature. That's probably what comes to mind. And then so they take being mature out onto the practice field, and they always they look to improve. And again, I'll go to our first pick this year with David Montgomery, and just for him, he's quiet, but yet he's so motivated in a good way. Riley Ridley has come out here, and with Anthony Miller being out, he's gotten a lot more work at the zebra position, and so he's getting more reps. And that kid is just so laser focused. And that's just the first two that we're talking about. But very, very impressed with that class.
That's pretty awesome. And we heard it with Jesper Horsted, our guest. It sounded very mature. And when you look at every name that was drafted, Montgomery, Ridley, Shelley, Wythe, Denmark, all those guys. Dax Raymond, I interviewed him down at the Senior Bowl. This guy was on a mission in Russia for 2 years. You talk about mature. There's a lot of quality character, even veterans and young guys, huh?
Well, yeah, and Aldo, it's like anybody. You start a new job, and you can be fully prepared for it, ready to go. You went through 4 years of college and maybe a couple more after that. You're never going to be completely focused and not have any issues until you're in there and you're doing it, maybe for even a year or two, and then everything is just second nature. Right. And that speaks to Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace has went through all those bumps in the road, and he's stringing together fucking at drafts on drafts on drafts without top draft picks.
Yep.
I mean, we had a third, a fourth, a sixth, and a seventh this year.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we have? 2 sevenths.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and we're excited about the draft class.
Yep.
Very excited.
Yep.
And it's a testament to this front office, and I think that they're in lockstep. They know what they want as a Chicago Bear. Mm. They know what they want for talent on the field, but even more importantly, they know what they want as a person off of it.
Yep.
And that speaks to all of these guys. Aldo, you've been in this business. Sometimes, I've been around athletes my entire life too. Sometimes you talk to a guy and you're like, oof, that's not a good dude. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just know it.
Yep.
And when I say not a good dude, there's like real bad skeletons in those closets.
Yep.
And not saying that a Bear couldn't go out and get arrested tomorrow. I'm not saying that. Sure. But a majority of these guys, they're just good human beings that love to play football. And that's really what it's all about. You don't want these guys that are in it for the wrong reasons. You want them to want, when you ask Jesper, how bad do you want it? Mm-hmm. I've never wanted anything more. Yeah, I really, really want it.
Yeah.
And that's put enough of those guys on your roster. What's the number one thing we've said on this show over all the years? Competition breeds success, and the Bears have it at every fucking level with quality individuals that are talented. You can't ask for anything more.
You really can't. And Nagy was asked about Mitch Trubisky, what he hopes Trubisky will do during this period off before camp resumes. And he gave a really good answer. And then there was a follow-up question that talked about Mitch's obsession, which is the topic that we've been talking about.
Well, for Mitch, I think the more tape that he can watch now that he's away, he'll stay in shape. He'll do everything that you want your guys to do. He wants to be out here right away, but as much tape as he can get visually and mentally, he can't get enough of that and just keep staying on it.
Do you have to tell him to chill out?
Yeah, because he's got that kind of that craziness in him to where he's just like, he is. We talked about last year being obsessed. He's truly obsessed. But I do feel like it's important that you give yourself as players and coaches an opportunity to just step back and reflect a little bit. And then when the time comes, you get a week before training camp. Before you know it, it's going full steam ahead.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, you remind our audience every once in a while. I wasn't too crazy with the draft pick at first when Mitch Trubisky, the Bears traded up, and because I saw these other quarterbacks who I thought were of comparable or even better talent. I was a big Patrick Mahomes fan and so forth. But I am completely turned around now. I don't know if Mitch Trubisky is ever going to be better than Watson or Mahomes and so forth, but I'm fucking really happy about Mitch Trubisky. The leadership skills that he's showing, the athletic ability. I think that these little mechanical things that he's I think that this is the breakthrough year. I think that year 3 we're going to see more accuracy, better accuracy, I should say, and we're going to see him just feel more comfortable because of his command of the playbook and his knowledge and so forth. Yeah. I think this is really going to be a great year for Mitch.
Well, let's be honest. We all thought Ross brought up Jay Cutler earlier. Sure, there was a lot of issues with Jay Cutler, but the fucking guy didn't have the fucking talent around him either. That Mitch does. There's really no excuse for Mitch. His number one thing that he needs to focus on, we broke it down, it's that fucking left foot. If he keeps that locked on target, he's a different football player. He is. I'm telling you, fans, if you go to YouTube and just put in Mitch Trubisky, and watch him play in any game, when he misfires, 9 times out of 10, he's unlocking that left foot. And when the ball goes in all sorts of places, sometimes it doesn't even make it to where he wants it to go. But that's the number one thing for me. And this is what you want to hear, Aldo. You want to hear from these beat reporters that the offense, that the ball's not hitting the ground. All these players are coming forward and saying, we're not thinking about if we're cutting off at 11 yards or at 12 yards. We're not thinking about that because we know the offense. That's going to help them, and that in turn is going to help Mitch Trubisky because everything in the NFL is precise. If you have a route that's supposed to be cut at 11 yards, you can't cut it at 10.
Right.
You can't cut it at 11 and a half. Show you how this is a game of inches. I don't even know if you knew this. I just heard about this today for the first time, that fucking 4th down play when Golden Tate scored the touchdown. They interviewed him about this. Listen to this bullshit. When they broke the fucking huddle, Golden Tate thought it was a run play.
I did see that somewhere, yeah.
They snapped the fucking ball, and he happened just to glance over to Nick Foles, and Nick Foles bails just a little bit out to the right-hand side. He was getting ready to go run block Sherrick McManus. When he saw Foles out of the corner of his eye bailing and running, he's like, fuck, I better run a route. He did it. So you're that fucking close to that being a broken play.
Jesus Christ.
It's, a game of fucking inches, and all those fucking inches went Philly's way that game. Yep. And, I'm not going to make excuses, but it just shows you how one little fucking tiny thing like that can end the fucking season.
Indeed.
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 And it is crazy.
Allen Robinson faced the media on Wednesday, and he was asked, do you think that this offense is on the verge of being elite?
Almost definitely. I mean, that's our goal. You know, I mean, we're not out here to just, like manage the game or anything like that. We're trying to score points. You know, we're trying to score points. We're trying to be the best offense in the NFL. You know, again, I mean, that's our job. You know, we're on our side of the ball to score points. You know, I think last year, you know, we had some peaks and some valleys at some points in time in games and stuff like that. Like, we've been able to turn it on and stuff like that. But, you know, our goal is to put our foot on the gas and keep it on the gas.
You hate that concept of managing.
Let me continue that, because this was a good follow-up by our buddy Mark Grody, who says, you know, you hate the concept of managing an offense, having, you know, your quarterback manage the offense. And this is what Allen says.
Almost definitely. You know, I mean, I don't think we have any players mentally who are in that state on offense. You know, I don't think any offense would or should, you know. So, I mean, with the quarterback that Mitch is, with the weapons we have on offense, you know, we're trying to, like I said before, we're trying to start fast, you know, and practice in games, you know, put our foot on the gas and keep it on the gas.
I love that. I mean, I go back to Jerry Angelo in an interview said this. I wish I had a recording of it. He says, our offense is not built to score a lot of points.
No shit. You succeeded.
Flying colors, Jerry, you did it. And, you know, I think I was in a hotel room or something when I heard that. I almost jumped out of the bed and just almost threw the radio across the room, because how can you develop a team where you're developing an offense to manage the game so that the defense can win the game for you, so that you can win a 6-0 game? That's just ludicrous to me. It doesn't make any sense.
You know, it goes back to Aldo. Remember when we had Olin Kreutz on? You know, you go out, you go and you mortgage your future for Jay Cutler. Understandable. I would have made the trade too. Fucking 25-year-old quarterback coming off a Pro Bowl season that has every tool in the bag. And, you know, then they go out and the highest, I mean, Chris Williams was a draft pick, and put the highest wide receiver that they went out and drafted for Jay was Johnny Knox in the 5th round.
That's crazy.
You know, he's the face of your franchise, really, but you're not going to give him the weapons that he needs to succeed. It's baffling the way that, you know, and then Olin Kreutz made the comment, you know, you go out and you do this, and the defense is where you want the defense to be, and then the Bears go out and spend $90 million on Julius Peppers, you know, rather than investing in some offensive talent to help that side of the ball. But let's be honest, if the Bears scored 30 points, we're like, holy shit, where did that come from?
Right.
You know? And then they'd go out and score 16 for the next 4 weeks in a row. But, Aldo, I got some breaking news if you want some.
Yeah, absolutely. Love breaking news.
But it's not good.
So, oh, no.
So Neil Stratton at Inside the League sent out a tweet. I'm hearing that the Philadelphia Eagles have played hardball with Jets' new GM, Joe Douglas, as he seeks to stock his front office. As a result, I'm told Chicago Bears Assistant Director of Player Personnel, Anthony Champ Kelly, will be hired by the New York Jets and is expected to be named the Assistant GM to Joe Douglas. And so Rich Cimini from ESPN just sent out another tweet. Bears executive Champ Kelly is under serious consideration for a prominent role in the Jets front office. Kelly, the Bears assistant director of player personnel, interviewed for the GM job that essentially went to Joe Douglas. Kelly and Douglas worked together in Chicago, so there's a familiarity there. Kelly also knows Adam Gase from years together in Denver. Indications are that Kelly could have the title of assistant GM. And ESPN's Todd McShay has withdrawn his name from consideration. Whatever the fuck. Thanks, Todd. But that's a big deal.
Yeah,
Champ Kelly is a good fucking. I know Chachi's a big fan of Champ, but that's, you know, this is the thing. This is where you know that your franchise is going. We have coordinators getting head coaching jobs, interviewing for head coaching jobs. Joe Douglas was plucked out of our front office. Now Champ Kelly's getting, you know, plucked out of our front office. That's where you know that you're doing things right, not just on the field. You're doing things right all over the place, and that's a testament to our general manager.
Yep.
And hopefully he's got the next guy in the wings, because Champ Kelly is going to be a big loss, just like Joe Douglas was. Joe Douglas, when he was here in Chicago, very, very underrated guy. I mean, he started out as the Turk in Baltimore. If you remember the first Hard Knocks, when Baltimore was coming off their Super Bowl season,
right?
Joe Douglas was on Hard Knocks. He was the Turk. Hey, Coach Billick needs to see you upstairs. That was his job. You go back and watch that. That was Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
That's where he got to start. Champ Kelly is a loss for this team.
Oh, shit. That sucks, man. And, you know, you have to just kind of, if you're Ryan Pace in the Bears organization, you just have to kind of let him go. I mean, you don't want to make false promises.
For him,
I mean, you can make him assistant general manager here in Chicago, but he knows that, you know, Ryan Pace is going to hold that job for a long time. So it's on to greener pastures for him. Unfortunately, he's going, you know, if he's worked with Adam Gase, he must know that there's a problem there.
Yeah.
But
he'll be part of the search firm that's replacing Adam Gase next year, probably.
Exactly. All right, I want to get back to Allen Robinson now. He was asked about, is there a sense of urgency with the team, particularly the offense?
I think I would say very, very, very urgent and very attentive. You know, again, I think that we know we got a little taste last year. You know, I think that as far as being 12-4 and stuff like that, I mean, we felt, you know, it was a good feeling, but at the end of the day, we didn't ultimately end up where we want. You know, so again, I think everybody kind of has that same taste. You know, kind of lingering around. You know, as far as what we want to accomplish, where we want to be at, and we know that, you know, last year we were right there knocking on the door. You know, like I said, like very close, you know. So again, so to know everything coming into this year, you know, being offensively and, you know, even seeing how fast the defense is playing and stuff like that, I think we're right on pace.
I love to hear that. Oh my gosh, he's even saying that the defense is behaving quickly, and they've got a lot to learn. I've got a soundbite here from Akeem Hicks, who says, you know, during this time period, they're going to do some studying, because Pagano's bringing his own ideas to this defense, and so it's not like, you know, they're ready to hit the road running. They got to hit the books and stuff. But listening to Allen is just another confidence booster for us as fans.
Speaking of a confidence booster, talking about Greg Braggs again, he talked to Jeff Joniak. I don't know if you saw that tweet from him.
That was brilliant. You are ridiculous.
But even a better one, Jeff Joniak gave him a little nugget of information.
Really?
Talking to all the fantasy football players, he's like, I'm telling you right now, you play fantasy football, you better draft Allen Robinson, because this kid is gonna blow up.
But that's I told Jared Payton that on his show when I was a guest on his show. He asked me which player is going to blow up, and it's got to be Allen Robinson.
You know, although there's people talking, you know, we're talking about the salary cap and all that, and I've seen people out there saying that he's a potential cap cut. No, this kid's a fucking building block.
25 years old.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, Mike North, 25 years old. Jordy Nelson's counting jelly beans, you know, playing golf and drinking Shanks and shuffleboard. Allen Robinson's getting ready to blow up. 25 years old. Think about that.
Yeah, pretty
crazy.
Fucking awesome. All right, I got a soundbite from Allen that's even going to make people want to draft Allen even higher than most wide receivers go, because listen to what he says about his knee.
Yeah, definitely. You know, again, I'm having a whole off season stuff like that to really build more strength and just to kind of just kind of maintain everything. I think it's a lot, you know, further than it was, you know, even at the end of the season last year. Again, just having the whole off season to still kind of create that muscle memory, you know, get more familiar with certain cuts and really hone in on how I want to be, you know, coming in and out of breaks and stuff like that. I mean, I feel light years, you know, ahead of any point in time last season.
To that point then, do you feel like there is a part of your game then that is either untapped or you can
most definitely. Like I said before, I mean, for me, I'm 25 years old. You know, I know this is year 6 for me, but I still got a lot of football ahead of me. You know, so again, I mean, I know that. I've had, even as like the course of my career. I mean, I've had some good peaks. But I don't think as a player that I've necessarily peaked yet. Again, I mean, just as far as being very efficient and stuff like that. I think that this spring, I've been very efficient. I've really sharpened the things that I want to sharpen here in the spring.
Oh man, yeah.
He's younger than Kevin White. Let that
Oh
sink
my
in.
gosh. Kevin White on a team, he's landed somewhere.
Arizona.
Right? Oh, okay.
Arizona.
That's a good spot for him.
Yeah, they signed him to a 1-year deal, but hey, get out there and work with a guy like Larry Fitzgerald. Hey, dude's taking a lot of slack here. I understand it. I just think, fucking broken bones. How do you, all three of them, all three injuries, broken bones. But back to Allen Robinson, man, you saw the fucking leap, Aldo, in that Philadelphia game. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was granted, Philadelphia doesn't have the greatest DBs in the world, and they'll bite on double moves, and that's where Allen Robinson was fucking killing them on double moves. But this kid is year 6, and he's 25 years old. Like I said, think about that. It's such a good signing by Ryan Pace. I mean, big time ability, and this is the difference in the Chicago Bears. They'd go out and get a guy like Allen Robinson, go out and sign a guy like Muhsin Muhammad and just fucking leave it there. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
But Ryan Pace is invested in Anthony Miller. He went out and invested in Taylor Gabriel. Went out and invested in Trey Burton. Fucking went out and invested again in Riley Ridley when we didn't really need to draft another wide receiver. But fuck it. We're going to put him there. And he's getting good fucking reviews already. I mean, Adam Hogue was elated with how he's looked and how he's grasped this offense. And it's like I said when we were talking to Ross, we have not seen, I haven't seen it with this team this much. I mean, before there'd be one or two guys, oh my God, we have Thomas Jones, we have Muhsin Muhammad, it's awesome, Bernard Berrien, great. Now you just fucking go on and on and on just on the fucking offense before you're even talking about the defense. It's
exactly
the different times in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting so psyched up.
Oh, me too.
All right, I want to play this soundbite. Nagy was asked about Bradley Soul's weight, and Nagy added more to that and talking about the entire offensive line.
I feel pretty good about both of them. It's the James being at center has been great. Cody being at guard has been great. The line has been really solid. Harry's done a wonderful job with them. And then Bradley, discussing with him, number one, getting his weight down a little bit, he's on a mission to do that. It's different when you're a tackle versus when you're a tight end and you got to line up in the 17,000 formations that we have. You got to know where to go. And then you got to also know what route to run. And then you got to know what adjustments you have per the coverage. And then, it's a run. Which that part's easier for him. So he's done great with it. He has has a long ways to go, but as long as he's hungry to be that position, yes.
You think that they switched Bradley over to tight end in case something doesn't go right with Adam Shaheen and they'll have this big blocking tight end?
Well, that was their need. They needed a guy, that could block. And then, you talk about them not wanting, what have we heard here lately? When Jordan Howard went out there, you knew that it was going to be, you knew they were going to run the football or whatever.
Right.
It's that diversity. And I never realized it until they started talking about it that we saw it on that touchdown versus the Rams, but Bradley Soul is like an elite athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I never fucking knew that.
Yeah.
They said he's like great at fucking golf. He's great at baseball. He's, good at football and basketball, everything. And let's be honest, Aldo, he probably wasn't going to make the roster on the offensive line because by everything that I'm hearing and I'm sure you've heard is that Rashad Coward has taken that fucking step.
Mm-hmm.
That they're very happy with, and they got the kids from Notre Dame that they're happy with.
Yeah,
he's probably going to be the odd man out, and for a guy that's been in the league this long to accept that role, kind of tells you that he knew it too. And I mean, you put him in it. I just think about the fucking versatility that it's going to bring now, because you're going to have this fucking dude that's going to be a tight end and obviously going to be used in limited packages. But what the fuck can you do with him now?
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
For the running game, because he's still going to be able to fucking block.
Yep.
You know, he's going to be dropped, and that's what Matt Nagy wants. And you know, that's going to be, you put him out there in a 2 tight end set with Bradley Soul and fucking Adam Shaheen on a fucking goal line, and then you're handing it off to David Montgomery. You know what I mean? Have fun.
Oh my God. Who was that guy from the Lions that you gave a bad tweet to?
Oh, Jesus Christ. It doesn't even worth mentioning again, but like you said, it all comes that shit just comes down to jealousy. But.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Jesus. I can't wait to see Bradley Soul line up at that fullback position. And with
they said that he's looked really good.
Yes.
In his they said there's been a couple of times early on a couple of the balls snuck up on him, but I mean he's got to get used to it. But
absolutely,
they've said that there's been places where he's really looked the fucking part.
Yeah, man, that's pretty. I'm so psyched. You know, and one of the reasons I'm psyched, I can't wait to go down to Bourbonnais and just watch these second and third stringers go at it. You know, Nagy was saying today that, they're going to have the ones versus the ones. They're going to have the twos versus the twos. But once they get going in camp, it's going to be the ones versus the twos. And I want to see how some of these twos and threes are going to play up against the first string offense, the first string defense, and so forth. Because I think a lot of those guys are going to hold their own.
Yeah.
I really do.
All right. Aldo, are you going to miss a fucking snap of the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter of a fucking preseason game?
No.
You're not going to this year.
No.
You're going to be fucking concentrating on all that shit. And that's, I mean, think of all Aldo, there was a time in fucking preseason when we had to watch Chris Leak be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And now it's just, I mean, now our running back in the fucking fourth quarter of a preseason game is going to be Kareth White and Ryan Nall.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, think about that. That just speaks to the depth and where we are. This team is, nothing's going to be handed to him. You know, Dan Aguirre is the fucking best ever. He's like, Shane, we've never beat Green Bay 2 times in a row, and because we're playing them again here at home, and but back in 1980. And I told him, I'm like, Dan, 1983 doesn't have any fucking factor on it.
Nothing.
But at the same time, Dan still has a fucking point.
Yeah, you got to do it.
This young team can't get ahead of themselves. There was a lot of Super Bowl talk at the fucking Bears 100. A lot of it. Mm-hmm. They may have never come out and said Super Bowl, but there was a lot of, it was implied.
Yeah.
Now it's time to do it. You got to back off that a little bit now and put your fucking nose back to the grindstone now here for the next 5 weeks. And, they've had the participation in the off-season program. These guys can't go out and fuck around. You can't go out and blow off interviews 4 and 5 times. Eddie, you got to do your fucking job. You know what I mean? That shit matters. I don't care what anybody says. That shit matters.
It does. We're obviously taking a shot at our man Eddie Jackson, who promised to come on our show, to come on Bears Barroom, I should
7
say.
times.
And to accept the badge of honor for his work that he's doing at the charity softball game on Saturday. And so we're going to promote that. Tickets over, I think that's the Schaumburg. I forgot the name of the stadium. I don't have the information in front of me. I think the Schaumburg baseball.
Fuck, it doesn't matter now, right?
That's right. Anyways, I plan on being there. If little Nicky picks me up, or
you better drive. You better drive.
I will
get an Uber.
But I will be there on Saturday, and hopefully I'll run into Eddie and give him some shit.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've gone through most of the stuff I want to talk about. You got any last thoughts you want to share with our followers?
No, I want everybody to embrace this. We have not seen this, Aldo.
Yep.
We haven't. 2005, I think, was probably the closest that we were to this. But as Ross said, it's this team. That team was so flawed because it was so one-sided. This team has the coaching staff It has the offense. It has the defense. It has the front office. It has the organization. Aldo, I thought Ted Phillips came off good at the Bears 100 with the way some of the things that he said. Think about that.
Yes.
Fucking sweaty Teddy. Jesus Christ. You know, it's a different direction, and I don't want the Bears fans to overlook this. Embrace it. Everybody fucking unite and get behind this team, because I'm going to be more surprised when we lose than I am when we win.
Yeah. I mean,
And
even with the schedule,
crazy.
you know, I have high expectations.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day, this past weekend, I had a bunch of guys here in the man cave, and somebody asked me, what's the record going to be? I said, this is a team that could be 10-6, but play much better football than they did last year.
Absolutely.
So I'm not worried about wins and losses. Let's just get into the playoffs, and we'll take care of business there. Would be nice.
Ela and I were walking in the mall the other day, and I have my Bears hat on. Fucking guy comes up and hits me. It just on the shoulder, and I'm like, I didn't know who the fuck the guy was. And I turn around, and he's got a fucking Packers jersey on.
Oh.
And he's like, go Green Bay. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he goes, no, man, I got to walk. He goes, you guys have a hell of a team. He goes, I'm not gonna front, man. He goes, you guys got a hell of a team. He's like, I even like Mitch. He goes, like, I'm like legit jealous of your guys' team. He goes, you guys are going places. Wow. He's like, Green Bay's got some problems. That's a fucking Packers fan coming up and saying, I didn't know who the fuck the kid was. He saw my Bears hat, and he came up and gave me some love for it. And I'm like, when the fuck was the last time that happened?
Really? I guess all the smart Packer fans are up in New York State.
Yeah, I think he was visiting. But.
It is time for us to do some shout-outs. I know that you always have a whole bunch of them, so
yeah.
Go ahead, knock them out. I'm gonna go to the washroom and take a piss. No, I'll stay here.
No, I'm gonna shout out, Badge, my boy Badge, and Joe Mandel and Greg Braggs for holding down the fort for us. And Chachi. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anybody else at Bears 100. That's directly involved here with the bar room. Those guys did an awesome job. Just texting us and DMing and letting us know what was going on. It's me being in New York, couldn't get there, been dealing with some family stuff with my dad and all that, and it was I couldn't stream some of the stuff that they had going on live, but I really appreciated all the updates from those guys, and it's it's an event that was 100 years in the making. Mm-hmm. Wish I could have been there. Those guys were there, but I just I appreciate all of their information and keeping us all informed, because they didn't have to do that. They're there and they're hyped about what's going on. They didn't need to DM us and text us and let us know what's going on. So props to all those guys for keeping us updated.
Absolutely. And let me add Jamie Dragani. I hope I pronounced the last name correctly.
Probably fucked it up, let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest. Absolutely. The Ball Girl, she is doing these designs for the Badge of Honor. All the athletes who are part of Ryan Badgley's Badge of Honor, players that are doing outstanding work with their charitable efforts. They're receiving a game ball designed by the Ball Girl, Jamie Dragani. And so welcome to Bears Barroom, Jamie. Thanks for being a partner, and we hope to get you on the show, whether it's the tailgate show or here 100 Proof. We want to talk to you and learn more about what you're doing. And anybody interested in getting a ball done by Jamie, you should just check out her Twitter account. It is _ball_girl, the Ball Girl. And she's got her phone number listed there, and you can give her a call. Take a look at some of these cool-ass designs that she's got. It's really some beautiful stuff. So congratulations to Jamie. We've also got some really cool announcements coming up about other people joining the bar room. We'll share those at the appropriate time. We do have another Bears 100 Proof scheduled for next week, and we even actually have our guest co-host already lined up. Shane, you know who it is, right?
I do.
What do you think? Should Should we give people a little hint as to who it might be?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, very good. We won't mention anything else. Let's see, more shout-outs. I want to shout out my man Tooch. He and I had lunch the other day over at Weber Grill in Schaumburg. Man, oh man, can that guy talk? I just kidding, Tooch. I love hanging out with him. He brought me a beautiful hat souvenir from the Bears 100, an orange one, man. It really looks cool, and I've been wearing it proudly.
Speaking of hats, Aldo, not to step on your shout out, you should be getting one tomorrow, finally. Been on fucking back order since April.
You want to share that story with people?
I have my draft party every year. I'm sure everybody knows it at this point, and I buy draft hats for everybody that comes to the party. I had to buy 6 Philadelphia Eagle fucking official draft hats this year. So, yeah, I drop a lot of money. The hats aren't fucking cheap, as anybody knows that buys a hat. But I ordered a couple of hats. I got one for Aldo, and fucking looking at him like, Jesus Christ. I said, Aldo, hopefully it makes there for the draft. And then I look and it says, should be delivered by June 18th. Was the fucking, they're all on back order. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So definitely didn't make the draft.
No, but I think it'll be here for next year's draft. So.
Yeah, it's supposed to be there tomorrow, according to my tracking, but we'll see.
And we're still going to Vegas for the next year's draft?
I'm there if you want to go. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to the wife about it. She's giving me the green light. So I'm doing the Senior Bowl and then the draft. I might even try to get down to the East-West Shrine game, man. I love going to these college all-star games, and and with Ryan Pace doing such a tremendous job of finding these players that get exposure at these all-star games. I want to be there and take a look at them firsthand.
Absolutely, and I want to get out. I got to reach out to Badge because he's a big Syracuse guy. I'm about an hour away from where I live, and I mean, Syracuse is finally getting back on the map of fucking football and getting some talent in there. Mm-hmm. And want to hook up with, because Badge is right down there, so I want to hook up with him. I've been thinking about dropping some money, and my son loves football and getting his season tickets, and fucking hour drive, you can go watch some good football.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Yeah, I've been thinking about this season I'm going to watch more college football than I ever have in my life. And part of it is because of the new Danny Shimon show, Draft on Tap, which we're still molding and so forth, and some more details on that. But we had a really good one the other day. It was
awesome.
Yeah, wasn't that guy great? Forgetting his name. Jesus, I forgot his name.
From Lindy's, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great show, and Danny is really excited about developing that show. He's fucking texting me every 20 minutes with which microphone should I get. He's now become a professional podcaster. So. That's very exciting. Lots of great stuff happening here at the Bears Bar Room, and lots of different programming. But first and foremost, it's about Chicago Bears football. That's our love. The people that created this network. It's about the Chicago Bears, and while we're going to have great shows like I Have a Stream and shows talking baseball during the summer season and so forth, we're always first and foremost going to be doing Chicago Bears football, and Bears 100 Proof is the centerpiece show of the network. So I think that's it, man. I wish
good to be back.
Yeah, it is good to be back. I'm really looking forward to next week's show. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to have some contests. It's going to be another good one. So remember,
lots of surprises.
Yes, indeedy. And remember, if you drink, please do not drive, and always bear down.
Go Raptors.
What's the score?
It's 85-82 Golden State with 2 minutes, 9 seconds left in the third quarter.
Oh, good. I can check some of that out.